Can you do a podcast on your own, or do you need a massive team of people? This is my personal opinion. I'm of course biased. When it comes to podcasting, I work in teams with super skilled and talented people. But I've also done projects on my own. Solopreneurship. Now, this word gained popularity a few years ago. Various people and gurus trying to sell you online courses and some resources to how can you make it on your own, have your laptop and then travel the world and do all that. When it comes to podcasting, I would say kind of recommended to start on your own, but if you want to pursue that line of thing and grow it, then it could become difficult if you want to sustain it in the long run. Most projects like that start alone, just one person. Like even CaseFile, it was a one-man show when it started. It was only for a few weeks before then I joined, but still, it started as a one-man show. If you wait for a perfect team or perfect moment, perfect partner, you might wait for a long time. Better to just get on with it, start it, and then you see how it goes. At the moment, if I was to talk about CaseFile and CaseFile Presents, we have like producers, researchers, writers, social media managers, lawyers, agents, editors, a ton of people. Like, it is a big team of people. It did not start like that. If it started like that, we would be having a very different conversation. And I'm not arguing against starting with a big team, and you got these companies that get funded upfront and they hire all the people and they start working on a product or what have you. But when it comes to things like podcasting or some creative work, I personally prefer starting small, bootstrapping, growing when you need to, slowly building it up. Podcasting is still a relatively new medium. I argue that to a degree it's still independent, but for sure it's intimate. So you've got your host or maybe two hosts. As you're listening to the podcast, you get to know them, you develop that relationship and you grow with them. They grow, you experience that journey. Authenticity, honesty, originality, this is what people like about podcasting. And this, in my opinion, is what wins in the long run. I want to ask you, would you do the research, the writing, the recording, the editing, the release all on your own? You can definitely try, and I even encourage you, because then you can learn about different aspects of podcasting. But can you sustain that? Can you sustain that week in and out? Or would you even want to do that? But I like lists, so let's talk pros and cons of each approach. And I've got a few arguments for and against. And we start with solopreneur. Let's start with few pros. 1, well, you can start alone. There's no one holding you back. You can just do it. Unless you're co-hosting, then it's 2 of you. You don't need permission. Just get on with it. 2, you can try every little idea that you got. You can experiment, you can record different things. There's no one to stop you, no one to challenge you on that as well. And 3, if you decide to stop, no dramas. There is no equity to split. It's just done and dusted. Let's now think about some cons of doing it all alone. 1, can you really do it all alone? Researching is not easy. Writing is not easy. Recording, not easy. Audio production, well, you guessed it, not easy. You can master 1 or maybe 2 of these things, but can you master all of them? Very difficult. 2, rubbish ideas will get through. There's no one else, so there's no one to challenge you if you want to do something that's not so good. And if you think that all of your ideas are gold, we might have another problem. And 3, it gets lonely. Podcasting, editing is kind of lonely. And if it's just you, there's no one else to brainstorm. That's for 1. And then 2, when it gets hard and there's no one to kick you in the ass and motivate you, it's very easy to procrastinate. Working a team is not always rosy as well. We start with some cons, and 1 is correcting other people's mistakes. When there's other people involved, you've got to rely on them. and some are more reliable than others. If you think there'll be a situation like you've got to fix something a day before the release because someone else didn't do their job, well, yes, it will happen. It most definitely will happen. 2 will be with a lot of people, can be some dramas, can be some arguments. Yeah, it's good to have everyone aligned and pursue the same vision for your show, but that's sometimes is very difficult to do when you have different personalities and people who are motivated by different things. And 3, expenses bloat. They get bloated. Salaries, you've got to pay salaries, you've got to pay pensions, freelancers, contractors, commissions. This is the biggest expense that you can have in any business. I argue that whilst it's good to grow your team, do it when the resources allow it. But let's finish on positives. What's so good about working in a team on your podcast? One is that everyone will have the same thing on their minds, which is making the show better. And when you work together with that goal in mind, it will ultimately lead to your podcast being better, being a better podcast. 2 is that you develop, you learn quicker and faster. There's other people, there's accountability. They rely on you and you rely on them. It's a powerful motivator. So you get off your butt and you try harder.
Do you find this video helpful? Well, hit subscribe and you can become a better audio producer, just like me.
And we finish with 3. I said podcasting is lonely and it's get hard sometimes at work and at home. And when you've got people around you that support you, you will get through these times with them together. I want to really finish on that because working in a team of skilled, talented individuals can get you through a lot. Good times and bad times. It's not only about making your podcast better. When you work with other people, in a group there's power, and in a diverse group of people, there's creativity, there's brainstorming. It's good to have people around us that challenge us on our beliefs, on our ideas that, we think they're like genius, but they're rubbish, that will push us, motivate us, support us. Some people say that we're born alone and that we die alone. But that does not mean that we have to lead our lives alone, that we have to work alone, that we have to have fun alone. When there's connectivity, when there are other people who want you to succeed, it leads to everything being better. And that's how I view life, and by that extension, that's how I view my work and, podcasting. Do your own thing, figure it out. I'm sure you will.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the next one and we'll see you soon.